Okay, so I'm going to show you how to make a pair of silver ear wires for your earrings. And the first part of the process is I'm going to take the wire and I'm going to put a little ball on the end of it. As you can see here, there's a little ball here. And I'm going to put a ball on the end of this one as well. This is 0.8mm sterling silver wire. Okay, so it's very easy to ball the wire. You need a pair of tweezers, so you can keep your fingers out of the way, and you need a torch, which you should have for firing your clay. So switch on the torch and hold the torch directly against the wire and at the end of the wire, and you should see it, and there we go. It's as simple as that. So it balls up like that, and that's what happens when the sterling silver starts to melt. Okay, so switch off the torch. And so we have 2 ear wires that are ready for the next stage. So here are our wires balled at the ends, and the reason I've balled them at the ends is because our earrings have got a hole in the middle here. When you're making this is a personal choice, but when you've got a hole like that in the middle, you probably want to have some sort of ball at the end. Even if you want to put a bead here, you'll need something to stop the wire from coming through, and balling the wire is easier than tapping the wire and thickening the wire at the end like a rivet. So balling is much easier, and that's why I thought, because this is a simple pair of ear wires, because obviously when we put them through the hole here, you can see that stops it falling through. And as I say, if you wanted to, you can put a bead through first and then put the earring on. It's entirely up to you. It's about your design. So the first thing you'll notice is that there is a little bit of fire stain or fire scale on here, and that's because we've heated the sterling silver, and that's always what happens with sterling. It always goes black or slightly discoloured when you fired it, applied a heat to it. So the first thing to do is to get rid of that. Now, you can pickle, but I've never found the safety pickle particularly effective on this. I don't have proper pickle in the house because I have children, and I don't use it very often, so I don't have it always on. So that's why I use safety pickle. But this it's not terribly effective for this safety pickle, certainly. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take some polishing papers. Now, most of you should have some of these, and it's very simple, and you just basically start to rub, and you can see hopefully pretty clearly that just by gently rubbing, that fire stain is coming off. And with these, it's the same as polishing anything. You can basically go through all the grits to get a nice back to the high finish, because we're just obviously sanding away that fire stain, which is pretty easy. Okay, so I'm just going to do one just now, just to show you. And if you're inclined, you don't want, because it does give a kind of a more satin finish to the wire, so you might want to go through all your polishing papers and kind of keep going until you've got a nice high shine. That's fine. Now, as I said before, these are 0.8mm wire, and I would say that's the perfect width of wire that you'd want to use, because it goes through the ear quite easily, but it's strong enough to be an ear wire to hold the earrings. So you can see the difference quite clearly there. I'll see if I can hold it up. That even just that little bit of sanding has taken the fire scale off. Now, the next thing, if you have them, and if you don't have them and you plan to make ear wires in the future, which is I tell you, it's a good idea because having ear wires, making your own ear wires for your work is actually a great idea if you can do it. Now, these are nylon jawed pliers, and I'm just going to run along the length of the wire like that. And this, because this is sterling silver. So what we're doing here, and I'm just going to hold the end of the wire here and pull. We're strengthening. We're kind of work hardening the wire. And basically, that is just pushing all the copper bits together. Now you can see that's more springy now, whereas this one's still quite bendy, and it will be because you've heated it. That's something, you know, when you've heated sterling, you have to work harden it to get it back to its springy state, which is this. Okay, so I'm going to go and clean this one off as well. So we've got two to work with, because I believe that it's a better idea to make two earring wires at the same time so that you've got the same shape and the same length as each other. So bear with me, I'm going to clean this one off and I'm going to come back to you. So my ear wires are clean, and I'm just going to push them together and I'm going to cut them to the same length, just because it's easier to work with the same length. Now I'm using a pair of snips, but they're flush cutters, which is really quite important for your wire. You don't want when you have a pair of pliers that cut, you kind of cut to a point, but these actually cut to a straight line. And so flush cutters, if you're working with silver, make sure that you have a pair of flush cutters that are basically reserved for your silver. Don't be cutting any memory wire or anything with these. But these are a really good buy. Okay, so we've got them the same length. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you a wee trick. Now you don't have to do this. This is entirely up to you, but this is the way I wanted to do, just because I don't want the earring moving on it. So push the earring through. Oops. Excuse me. I'm able to pick up. I haven't got any nails just now. All right, so pop this through, and you can see it's not going to go anywhere. I like to put on a crimp bead. And this is a sterling silver crimp bead that people use for beading, and I just like to put it on because I want the flower to stay. I don't want it to come off the earring wire. You don't have to do this. This is not a requirement. It's my personal preference. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to push it up to the back of the earring like that. And I'm going to take my pliers, and these are chain nose pliers, and I'm going to just press down, and that'll just secure it. Now I'll also do this way as well, just to tidy it up a wee bit. And that secures it, and then I'm going to push up, okay, like so. All right, and then I might crimp that down again just to make sure it's nice and straight. All right, and basically this won't this shouldn't, excuse me just a minute, I haven't crimped it firmly enough. This should not come off. See, the wire's bending now. So I'm just going to, again, take my nylon jaw pliers and straighten that out a little bit. All right, so we're going to bend it right angles. And it will spin, but it won't move, it won't come off that wire. All right, so I'm going to do that to the second one as well. Just make sure this wire is nice and straight, and keep that like that. All right, so I have my two earrings on the wires now, and all we're going to do now is we're going to bend the wires, and generally bend them together. This is a wee trick of the trade, because if you bend them together, then you'll always have them at the same length. And obviously for earrings, especially ones that dangle a little bit, you want these earrings to be the same length, otherwise it's just going to look a bit odd. So just a wee bit of footering around, just making sure that these earrings are the same length. They pretty much are, but you want to make sure they're the same length, okay, and they're together. I'm going to take this tool. This is a tool for making bails and things like that, and it's as you can see here, it's 2 round tubes basically. You don't have to have one of these. You can have a pencil or a knitting needle or something like that, so long as you're basically rolling around the same part. So I'm just going to decide on how much of a length I want from here to the ear, and then there's going to be a point where you're going to wind in, and then the thing is going to be at the back. So really this is up to you. How long do you like your earrings? You can put other beads on here or whatever you want to design it. It's entirely up to you. But as I say, I'm just trying to do a basic earring wire for you. All right, so I'm going to go down around the there we go. I'm going to go about there. Grip that wire nice and firmly, and then bend round this way. Okay. All right. So we've got our earring wires. Okay. Now it's also a nice touch as well. If you bend them like that, you might want to have a little kick out at the back. So again, line up your earring wire. Take the chain nose pliers this time, and then just bend them slightly like that. Okay. Like so. So that's the basic ear wire. Now the end process is this part here is really sharp because you've cut it. It's not very it's not pleasant to put that through an ear right now. So my suggestion is to get yourself some sandpaper. This is 600 grit, and just start to sand. And basically what you're doing is you're sanding from the edge round and over. So if you've got your straight edge, and you want to basically sand from the outside edge and up and over, so you're rounding off the hard edge, and just keep doing that until when you find your finger is finding that a lot softer. You'll see what I mean when you do it. It's unmistakable. Now this will cause the wire to dull a little bit as well at the end here, so you might want to give yourself a little bit more sanding with your sanding papers, and then just bring that back up to a shine. You can put them in the tumbler if you want. Well, when that is soft, it's not quite soft, but it's soft enough, then you can take them and readjust. You'll push them back and make sure they're both equal. And you can, that's it. So they're quite, as I say, they're quite easy. You can put them in the tumbler when you've finished filing them off and shine them up, and they should be fine. And also that will serve to work harden the sterling wire a little bit as well, which is not a bad thing, because the wire is still a little bit in the soft side at this particular time. So yeah, just the other thing that you can do, you can actually buy a tool called a burr tool, and that will it's like a cut burr, and it usually comes in a handle, and you can put it on the end and twist and that will basically curve off the end for you as well. So if you fancy buying another, I just didn't want to say that you don't actually have to have one. You can do it by hand, and it doesn't take very long. But it's another thing to buy, obviously, so you might not want to buy that at this stage because you might not have chain nose pliers, which you do need. You need some flush cutters, and I would highly recommend that you buy some nylon jawed pliers as well. You don't need this. You can, as I say, you can use a pencil or something else, but these are the 3 types of pliers you will need, and if you don't have them in your collection, I'm afraid you're going to have to invest in some. Some people say, why bother making your own ear wires when there's so many out there? But you know what? Doing ear wires is really important because it adds something else to your work. And you can make them a little bit individual. There's a lady in our group who has taught me how to make ear wires. She's an absolute ear wire making ninja. That's Anne Magnus Bennett. I think she's got 3 names. She's got a very long name, but she's an ear wire making ninja, and she has taught me some really good lessons as well, which I thank her for. But that is the first. That's a very simple pair of ear wires. Now, loves, I was really quite overwhelmed by the response to this film because this is actually the second attempt I did it because the first time was really quick and I didn't explain a whole lot because I thought, oh, it's just a wee tutorial, it doesn't matter. But actually I've refilmed this today because it's clear that a lot of you wanted it. Now, don't be shy. Ask if you want to see something else and I can possibly do that for you, then I will. So please ask if you want to see anything else. I can do a range of I can do a wee mini tutorial on making all sorts of different ear wires if that's what you want. So let me know. But these are, lovely and make such a difference. So have fun doing these, and I'll look forward to seeing your results. All right, speak to you later. Bye.